Something just happened to 3I Atlas that has every astronomer on Earth completely baffled. A sudden, dramatic change that occurred within mere hours. A transformation so rapid, so unexpected, that it violates everything we thought we understood about how objects behave in space. And NASA's official response? They can't explain it. Let me tell you exactly what changed, and why this has the entire astronomical community in shock. Only 48 hours ago, 3I Atlas was behaving perfectly predictably. Rotation period, 4 hours. Surface brightness, consistent. Spectroscopic lines, stable. Trajectory, precise, with only a minor acceleration we'd been tracking for weeks. Everything was measured, logged, and behaving by the book. Then suddenly, everything changed. The first hints came not from NASA or the European Space Agency, but from amateur astronomers. Across Chile, Japan, and Arizona, observers reported something impossible. 3I Atlas appeared brighter, not slightly, dramatically. Within 6 hours, its apparent magnitude increased by nearly 2 magnitudes, a 6-fold increase in brightness in less than a quarter of a day. That doesn't happen. Comets brighten slowly over days or weeks as sunlight heats their surface. But this was instant. Professional observatories confirmed it almost immediately. The Hubble Space Telescope had observation time scheduled and captured the change in real time. The images are both stunning and disturbing. Where we once saw a relatively uniform surface with faint activity, now we see intense emission from a single hemisphere. Where we saw subtle plumes of dust, now we see roaring jets of light. The object didn't just brighten, it transformed. But brightness was only the beginning. The rotation period changed too. It was 2.4 hours. Now, it's 3.1 hours. 3I Atlas is spinning slower. That's not supposed to happen. In space, angular momentum is sacred. Rotation doesn't just shift unless a torque is applied. Something acted on it. Could outgassing do that? Not at this magnitude. Models show the observed gas flow is nowhere near strong enough to slow the rotation by that much, that fast. And yet, it did. At the same time, its spectroscopic signature changed dramatically. That mysterious 637 nanometer emission line, the one that appeared during its perihelion explosion and then vanished weeks ago, it's back, and stronger than ever. Multiple telescopes saw it. Different hemispheres, different instruments, same result. A bright crimson line where physics says there should be none. And that's not all. New emission features appeared in the infrared. Broad bands between 2.5 and 3.5 microns. These wavelengths usually mean complex organics, the chemistry of carbon chains and volatile compounds. Either the surface composition changed, or something beneath the crust is now exposed, or something is actively producing. Those materials, each explanation is extraordinary. Infrared readings also revealed something else. Heat. The object is warmer overall, but instead of uniform temperature, it now shows localized hotspots. Regions 50 Kelvin above the rest of the surface, that's not sunlight. That's internal energy. Something is generating heat from within. Even stranger, the fragments left behind from its perihelion explosion are behaving oddly. Several small pieces that were following predictable paths suddenly veered off course. Tiny but measurable velocity changes, tens of meters per second, all around the same time the main body changed. It's as if whatever affected 3I Atlas also touched its debris, remotely, coherently, simultaneously. That shouldn't be possible. I spoke yesterday with Dr. Michio Kaku about this data. He was candid. In 40 years of physics, he said, I've never seen an astronomical object change this rapidly without an obvious cause. He continued, natural processes have time scales. Ice sublimates gradually. Rotation drifts over days. Spectral features evolve as material changes. But here, everything shifted. Brightness, rotation, spectrum, temperature, debris, all at once. That suggests a single cause affecting all properties simultaneously. What natural mechanism does that? He paused, then quietly added, I can think of several artificial ones. NASA's official statement was cautious. They acknowledged the changes. They offered no explanation. Observations are ongoing, they said. Data is being analyzed. That's it. No hypothesis, no speculation, just silence. Normally, when something dramatic happens in the sky, NASA shares preliminary ideas immediately, even if they're unsure. This time, nothing. And that silence, many of us agree, is telling. Several internal sources inside NASA, people I've spoken to off record, describe confusion, heated debate, and sleepless nights. Different teams propose wildly different theories, but none fit the data. Some argue for a catastrophic structural failure. Others for a hidden impact from an undetected rock. A few whisper about chemical processes we don't yet understand. And yes, a handful are quietly asking the unthinkable. What if this is intentional activation of something? If 3I Atlas contains dormant systems and those systems were triggered, you'd expect exactly what we're seeing. Sudden brightness from energy output, thermal hotspots from power generation, rotation change from thrust or control, spectral lines from active emissions, and correlated debris movement. If fragments are still communicating or linked, it fits disturbingly well. But science demands discipline, so let's examine natural explanations. Hypothesis 1. Delayed subsurface heating. Solar radiation from perihelion penetrated deep layers and finally reached volatile ices, causing a sudden eruption. This could explain the brightness and gas emissions. The problem? Timing. Perihelion was weeks ago. Thermal conduction through rock and ice is slow, and models show peak heating should have occurred days after, not now. It also can't explain the rotation change or coordinated debris movement. Hypothesis 2. Impact by a small undetected object. A house-sized rock strikes the comet, excavates fresh material, changes spin, produces plumes. It fits part of the data, but there's no evidence of impact, no flash, no debris cloud, no shock signature in light curves, and the odds of a random hit during this short window are tiny. Hypothesis 3. Structural failure. The nucleus cracked under stress, exposing volatile layers. That happens with comets, but fragmentation usually speeds up rotation as mass collapses inward. 3I Atlas slowed down, opposite effect, and no large fragments were seen separating. Hypothesis 4. Exotic ice chemistry. Maybe it contains compounds we've never encountered, ammonia hydrates, methane clathrates, or something even stranger. These could sublimate explosively. Possible? Yes. But again, timing and coordination make it implausible. You'd need multiple exotic reactions happening everywhere at once. Hypothesis 5. Electrical discharge. The object accumulated static charge and discharged like a capacitor, releasing energy. Interesting, but the power output we're seeing far exceeds what static accumulation could store, and we detected no radio burst that would accompany such an event. Each natural theory explains one piece of the puzzle, but none explain all of them together. The honest truth is, we don't have a natural model that fits, and that leaves one unsettling alternative. The artificial hypothesis is simple. 3I Atlas contains technology. It was dormant. Until now. Why activate now? Maybe a timer set long ago to awaken post-perihelion. Maybe a signal triggered it. Maybe it detected something, Earth, Mars, or the Sun itself, at a specific distance. Or maybe damage from the solar explosion forced a switch to backup systems. Each possibility explains the data elegantly. Activation means energy. Energy means heat. Power systems affect spin. Communication links disturb nearby fragments. Emission lines become signals. It's one assumption that solves every mystery, but it's an assumption that rewrites history. NASA's official tone remains restrained, but privately, researchers are alarmed. Because if this is artificial, it's the first confirmed extraterrestrial machine operating in our solar system. If it's natural, then we've just discovered new physics. Either way, this is a revolution in progress. And there's more. In just 60 days, China's Intercept mission will reach 3I Atlas. That spacecraft is carrying high-resolution cameras, spectrometers, and magnetic sensors capable of detecting active electrical systems. Within 2 months, we'll know. If they find artificial geometry, panels, grids, symmetry, it's over. Confirmation. If they find nothing but rock and ice, then we have new chemistry to explain. Until then, all we can do is watch. Right now, every major observatory on Earth is aimed at 3I Atlas. Every spectral line, every flicker, every shift is being recorded. Some researchers even propose active experiments. Send radar pings or radio transmissions and see if it responds. Others, including Dr. Kaku, urge caution. If it's natural, active probing is pointless. If it's artificial, maybe we shouldn't poke it until we understand what it's capable of. Caution, he says, is the scientific version of respect. Meanwhile, the story has gone global. What started as obscure comet data is now headline news. The public wants answers. And the pressure on NASA, ESA, and China's mission control is enormous. But science doesn't move on press cycles. It moves on evidence. And the evidence so far points to one chilling reality. 3I Atlas is doing things no natural object should do. Inside NASA, sources describe sleepless nights and heated emails. Each new data set makes the picture stranger. Brightness, rotation, spectrum, temperature, debris, all changing together, as if controlled by one system. Coincidence feels less like chance and more like engineering. Dr. Kaku puts the probability of artificial origin between 70 and 75%. High enough to take seriously, low enough to demand caution, and he's right. Science doesn't deal in belief, it deals in probability, and probability says something extraordinary is happening. If it's natural, then we're missing fundamental physics, processes that rewrite our models of heat, energy, and rotation. If it's artificial, then we're witnessing technology older, smarter, and colder than anything humanity has ever built. Either way, the textbooks are about to change. For astronomers, this is the most exciting and unsettling time since Galileo first lifted a telescope. We may be watching the first confirmed extraterrestrial technology operating within our solar system. Or we may be discovering a natural process so exotic that it feels alien. Both possibilities lead to the same conclusion. We are standing on the edge of a new chapter in human knowledge. So for now, we observe. We wait. We measure every flicker of light from that distant traveler. And as we do, one thought echoes across observatories and control rooms around the world. Whatever 3I Atlas truly is, it just reminded us how small we are and how much there's still to learn. Maybe it's a comet, maybe it's a machine, or maybe, just maybe, it's something that defies both words. But one thing's certain, the universe just got a lot more interesting. And if you don't want to miss what happens next, hit subscribe before NASA does.